Hey there. Last night I watched Miller's Crossing and I enjoyed it. Recently came with a Coen Brothers box set I bought. It's okay. I've seen it numerous times. Came out in 1990. I probably watched it for the first time late 95. I've seen it a handful of times since. I've always owned it. This is, I think, the second copy I've bought just because I, think the Coen Brothers are all that, so I've bought most of their films. I think this is lesser Coen Brothers. It feels unfocused to me, somewhat. It is very rich with beauty and aesthetic, and it's very poor with, I don't know. I didn't really care. That I would say it's poor with maybe characterization. Usually Coen Brothers stories are so involved and pull you in just so intensely that, it becomes like this experience where I just feel like an observer watching this film. It seems very glossy. I don't really know how else to say it. I mean, it's a gorgeous looking film. It's a period piece. It's about Prohibition era Chicago, right? Is that what it was? Chicago? Now I gotta read. Or maybe it's New York. I don't really know. It could be anywhere, I suppose. As long as it's the 1920s. But for some reason I thought it was Chicago. Anyway, it's probably New York. You've got Tom, who's played by Gabriel Byrne. You've got Gabriel Byrne, who is kind of like a consigliere for a Irish mob boss, played by Albert Finney, who is good here. He makes that Albert Finney face. Albert Finney has one of the best scenes in the movies. And basically he tries to manipulate every situation that he's in. And, he finds himself on both sides. He manipulates both sides, trying basically just to save his own ass and to save those he cares about. He cares about Leo, the Albert Finney character. They both are in love with a woman, the same woman, played by Marcia Gay Harden. This is probably the first time I'd ever seen Marcia Gay Harden, and, I didn't really even remember her being in this movie. I see her and like, oh yeah, Marcia Gay Harden. So it's a mob tale of pitting the Italian mob against the Irish mob. The city's caught in between, and Tom is very dangerously trying to control everything, holding all the strings. And will he make it? You don't know. Let's see. The other characters I want to mention. Let's see. We've got Albert Finney, Gabriel Byrne, Marcia Gay Harden, John Turturro, I believe, has a career because of this film. John Turturro really delivers. He has one of the other best scenes of the movie. There's really like two standout scenes, like powerful scenes in the film. And John Turturro, again, I think he has a career because of his performance in this film. Yes, because, you know, he would continue to work with the Coen brothers, but I think he really, you know, hit the spotlight with this film. I think it was nominated for a number of Oscars. I'm not really sure. If I didn't mention, this is a Coen brothers film. It's written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. It's produced, it was not produced by them. Mark Silverman, Ben Barenholtz, not familiar with those names. I thought Silverman, they might have worked together again. Anyway, it's a good Coen brothers film. I mean, obviously they don't really make bad movies. You know, they've made some movies that were not great, but usually there's something that you can take away from them. This is probably their first. I can't remember what came first. I believe this did before Hudsucker Proxy. I think you would talk to most people, and most people would consider Hudsucker Proxy a misfire. Though there is some very charming things about it, including Paul Newman. But for this movie, you know, it's just, it seems more beautiful and but not much more below the surface. You know, I never was really brought into their world. It always felt like I was an observer. I didn't, you know, care so much. Oh, one actor I did want to mention. He's a character actor. And I'm glad they have his name on the back here. John Polito. He was also in Barton Fink. He's also in Big Lebowski. He's got the biggest part I think he's ever had in this film. He's bald. He's got a mustache. In Big Lebowski, he was the private detective, the brother Seamus. And in Barton Fink, he was the abused assistant to Michael Lerner. And this is probably his biggest role that he's ever had. He's very good in it. You know, he gets to scream a lot. All of the characters are pretty kind of cardboard in a way, kind of cut and paste. You know, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I guess I want to give it a 7. Sorry if I hadn't said that before, but you know, some part of me kind of feels that it's a 6. But the fact that it's a Coen Brothers film, I gotta give it a 7. You know, I mean, I generally would give it a thumbs up, which is, you know, my line is at a 7. 7 and up is a thumbs up for me. So I would have to give it a thumbs up because it is gorgeous. It is very well directed. All of the shots are composed, you know, to resemble a fine work of art. The director of photography here, as in a number of their other films, was Barry Sonnenfeld, who would go on to direct himself. Also, we have another director cameoing in the film, Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi and the Coen brothers kind of got their start at the same time. They, you know, used their similar technology. They worked together, basically. So Sam Raimi has a cameo appearance in this film, and it's very good. But it's always cool to see Sam Raimi. So, I mean, I will give it a 7 because of its outstanding visuals, and it's very well directed, and well written. They have that unique way of speaking. You know, it's like, what's the rumpus? You know, everyone says, what's the rumpus? I've never heard that before, except in this film. I really like that, but it, you know, it's, they really have the ear for the language of the time, but I never really feel that we get to know the characters. I mean, I guess that's not true. Every single character is focused. You know, they're focused on their goal and what they want, and we don't get to hear much about the other characters other than what they want done, their desires. Again, in a nutshell, I just basically feel like an outside observer instead of being brought into the world. You know, it didn't draw me in, but it is gorgeous, well acted, and again, I guess it would come down to the writing. As I wish that the writing had been more deep, instead of just focusing on, you know, the polished aspect. But there are like two incredibly powerful scenes in the film. One of the scenes featuring Albert Finney and an overplay of Danny Boy, I think would go on to influence other films just in the, you know, immediate future after this film. Again, they are the Coen brothers, and they're an influential filmmaking team. So again, I think Miller's Crossing, you know, is important to see for that aspect. But I would have to call her lesser Coen. But the Albert Finney scene is amazing. You know, I don't know, it's really good, and I think that many people would imitate that scene for years to come. I really can't think of many scenes, you know, exactly like it, that then after Miller's Crossing, you could kind of see that influence. Especially in the works of Scorsese. You know, I think Scorsese owes a little bit to this film. I really don't know what else to say. I enjoyed it. You know, I'm glad I watched it. I haven't watched it in a while. This has probably got to be somewhere along the 5th or 6th time I've watched it. Maybe 4th, you know, somewhere in there. But good, you know, good stuff. I'd give it a thumbs up, though it's not as good as many other. I'm just saying that the Coen brothers make 10s, you know. They make 10s, and this is not a 10. But it's still a good flick, you know. I think I'll stand by my 7, you know. I'll stand by the 7. So, yeah, that's the Coen brothers film, Miller's Crossing. I really enjoyed it. I own it. And, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. It's a solid 7. Thanks.